Well, good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. So this morning I'm going to do something completely different, something that I'm not really that familiar with, called macro photography. So for anyone that's not familiar with the term macro, it effectively and really simply means close-up. So you put your camera as close to a subject as possible and take a shot. And if you've seen macro photography, you'll know that there's lots of macro photography taken with insects and other man-made objects and flowers. So what we'll do is we'll wander around my garden this morning and let's see what macro photography opportunities we find. So join me and let's see where this journey takes us this morning. Right, so I'm just going to walk down to the bottom of the garden, and what I'm just going to do is just scan my hedges and just see if there are any plants or flowers that might be of interest, but equally what insects might be on the leaves, and then that way I'll test out the theory. So you might have noticed that the garden, the grass hasn't been cut. So it's a good justification to say to my wife, don't need to cut the grass because I'm going to be doing macro photography. So let's crack on and let's see if I can find an insect. Alright, so I've got some overgrown hedges, and my cousin Alan will be mortified at the state of the hedges, but that's fine, we'll trim them. But we need it to be wild for this video. But I've actually been practicing the last couple of days because this is a photography genre that is not that easy, and it takes quite a bit of practice, and I am absolutely just a beginner. But what I've done is I bought this off eBay. It's just a flash diffuser, and it was only about £8 or £9. And I found this to be really effective because it diffuses the light, and it makes the light a lot softer when you're going close up to plants or to insects, for example. I did see on YouTube a hack where you could use a Pringle tube. You could cut the Pringle tube in half, bend it over, put a bit of kind of kitchen roll at the front as a diffuser, and I've tried that, but the light's a wee bit harsh. I find that using this diffuser, which is really cheap, has really made quite a difference. So what I'll do is I'll quickly run through the camera settings. So I've been experimenting on the settings, and the light's going to come and go today because we've got overcast cloud, but it was sunny earlier. But in the cloud I've got ISO 100, f8 and 200th of a shutter speed. And what I'll do is I've set my lens, and I do have a macro lens, it's a Canon 100mm macro lens, and I've set it to manual focus, because the other thing I've been learning is if you go to autofocus, it hunts all the time. So every time you think you've taken a shot, when you go back to the viewfinder and you look, you've kind of missed the shot. So let me go and have a wee look and see if we can get any insects, and then I'll pick up with you then. Alright, so there's a wee, I don't know what it is. It's like a wee, it's either a tiny fly or a tiny spider. But it's buried right into the hedge here. So I'm just going to zoom in. I've got my focus set to manual because, as I mentioned earlier, when you do hunting, so that's not very sharp. So let me try that again. It's like a daddy long legs that's moving. There we go. Oh. Right, so the other thing you're going to find if you try this is not every single shot is sharp. And cricky, I've taken loads, and you'll probably find that you'll just have to keep persevering and trying again, because of the nature of the macro photography, and because you're so close and you tend to shoot at a kind of 1:1 or a 2:1 ratio, you've only got that much of a gap tolerance. So it means that regardless of what aperture you're using, when you think you might have the head in focus, the back goes in focus. If you think you've got the body in focus, the leaf might be in focus. So you've got to keep taking plenty of photographs until you get the one that's actually sharp, because I'm handheld here I can't use a tripod because there's no way a tripod could get this close, and it would just be such a faff trying to set up a tripod as I go around. So I'm going handheld. That's why I've got a 200th of a second shutter speed, so that it kind of reduces any vibrations in my hands, and it was such a fast shutter speed that snaps the image. So what I'll do is I'll keep looking for more subjects in this area, and then what I'll do is I'll share some of those images with you now. Right, so I've just come over to this cluster of wee flowers. I don't know what they're called, but there's a kind of fly or a wasp inside that flower. Oh, and that's actually quite nice. So the other thing I've been learning is using the flash actually helps give you depth in your image as well. So because I'm using a 200th of a shutter speed f8 and ISO 100, when you look at the viewfinder it's quite dark. So that's when the flash comes in and it gives me not quite perfect light, but good enough light that gives me a lot of depth in the image. And I've got my flash set at a 1/16th of a second, and I'm on manual, only because it works for me and I can adjust and I'm familiar with that. I'm sure you can use TTL and other settings in your flash if you want. But hang on, there's a big wasp, a bee, sorry. And there's a fly. So, so it was really opportune because these insects are really, really fast. And the other thing I've noticed is that even when you stand here for a wee while, they actually, if they fly away, they do come back. So it's not as if we're in the way. But I was just going to wait here a couple of minutes to see if that bee comes back to the flower, and I'll see if I can get a shot of the bee. What I'll also do is look for other insects around the leaves. I'll take those images and then I'll share those images with you just now. So I'm just focusing in on this area. There's a kind of golden coloured fly there. Actually, see when, so when you take your shots and you look at all these professional macro photographers and you think, I'll never be able to do that. Just with this simple setup that I've got this morning and hand holding, I'm hoping when I look at the back of the viewfinder, some of the images look quite good and they're quite sharp, and you can start to see the hatch detail in the fly's eyes, for example. But I won't hold my hopes too high, because there's a lot of times you go in the viewfinder and when you get back to the computer it's two separate images and it's not quite as sharp as you thought. So I'll keep looking. It's mostly flies. I'm trying to look for something different. And then the other thing I'm trying to do is, when I see a fly on a leaf, is just move round, get lower. So there's one there. Get lower. And then try and get the fly at the tip of the leaf, because it just gives you a different perspective and a different view. Whereas if you always take shots of them from the top, all you're going to get is the back. So it's the same with every type of photography genre. Go low, go high, look for different compositions. So I know it's a subject that keeps moving all the time, but there's one there. So he's just landed. Let me see if I can get him close or her close. I'm really trying to get the heads in focus, and sure enough, that's nice. Well, this one's got 3 flies in it. Wow. And this one has got 1 in it. See if I can get closer. Right, so there's insects on the fence. So I'm going to have a wee look and see if we can grab some shots of the insects on the fence. Right, so there's 1 or 2 insects been sitting on top of the slats of the fence. And there's some insects that have been, mainly flies, but to be fair, I'm not really into insects, but there's quite a huge variety of different flies and colours that we've been taking so far. And what I'll do is, when I spot them, I'll take some quick shots and then I'll be able to show you what that looks like. In fact, there's one there. Oh, and there's a wee guy sitting on top. Let me just check. Cool. Right, so what I'll do is I'll hang about here for another 5 minutes. I'll see if there's any more insects land on the wood, and then I'll share those images with you just now. Right, so there's not a huge amount yet. There's been 1 or 2 bees that I've just taken my time and tried to get shots of, and if they come out then I'll share those images with you. Right, so there was a bee around about that area. Oh, there he is. Right, let me see if I can grab some shots of the bee. Let me check because it's quite bright. Oh no, they're quite nice. I've got a couple that haven't worked out, but there he's back. And he's moved again. Interesting. Where did he go? So, so you need to have eyes everywhere. Like, these things are so fast. It's more like you just need to be in one position and hope that they just come here. So the other thing I've been practicing with is I start off at a distance and then work my way in, because I find that helps me as well, because I know that I've got my first image in focus and I can crop it, but it's actually quite good because it keeps you focused on the insect. And I've seen a blue bottle there, and I try to get them through the plants, and if you can stay focused on them when they turn, if you're lucky, you can catch them. So I mentioned earlier that it's good to go on manual focus because autofocus hunts, but sometimes you need to revert back to autofocus because you haven't got the time. So go with what's comfortable for you and have a blend. Try the manual exposure, because with manual exposure all you need to do is pull your camera backwards and push it forwards, and that'll get it back into focus. Oh, here's another wasp. Let's see if we can... Oh, I don't know where he went. Oh, there we go. Get loads of activity here. Get 2 for the price of 1 on this one. A blue bottle and a wasp. So the trick with them all is try and focus in on their heads, because it's getting that image where you've got those big eyes with a mesh look to it. It comes up really nice. Look, there's a head to head going on here. Let me see if I can... Oh wow. I'm just focusing on that wasp. Try and get different angles, because he's getting quite a few friends round about him. Let me see if I can get that blue bottle again. Quite a nice colour. Right, I mentioned earlier I seen one of those wee orange bugs, and there's 2 or 3 on these green leaves, and one of them is actually, there's a leaf in here on a slant and the wee bug's right on the edge. So let me see if I can get that shot. So just zoom in, get the tip of the leaf. Oh wait a minute, I'll take a couple shots because my focus is moving. I'm trying to get its head. So the composition I've got here is the leaves on a slant and the little orange bug's right at the very end, but he's facing me straight on. Let me just see if I can get more, because that's really cool actually. Oh wow, right, oh wow. Alright, oh cool. Right, so I've got 2 or 3 that are really nice, where I've got the bug facing me, and I've got one of them where their face is absolutely sharp. Oh, I really hope that turns out. Right, so let's move on and let's see what else we can find. Right, so there's a wee wasp, or it's probably a wee fly. It looks quite transparent in its back. Oh, that's quite nice. See, the other thing is, when you try and catch a lot of them in flight, oh, that turned out quite nice. It's really, really hard. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Right, so I've got some, oh wow. Right, so I've got some real crackers. In fact, I've zoomed in to this one, and I've got, I don't know if it's a wasp or a horsefly, but because I zoomed in, I don't know if you'll see that, I've got the head coming in from the top left to the bottom right, and I'm going to crop that and show that image because that's absolutely cracking. Right, so let's move on and let's see what else we can find. So what we do have here is these yellow plants. They're kind of finished now, but there's a fly on one of them. Just try and get the fly closer, and see if I can get any closer. It's really hard to try and focus on their heads. Alright, so there's a wee orange bug on that thistle, so why don't I take a shot and then let's see how we get on with that one. I was looking to see, I really like it, the composition when they're on the edge of the leaf, it just makes it a much better image. Oh, what's that? Oh, I've got a ladybird. Oh wow. Right, well, my first ladybird of the morning. Let me see if I can move that around so I can get better access. I've not had a ladybird for ages. Oh wow, that's really cool. I'm trying my hardest not to unsettle it. Oh wow. See if I can get lower. Oh, cool. Right, oh, I'm chuffed. I've got a ladybird. It's not quite in a brilliant position, but oh, I'm glad I found a ladybird. There we go. It's not very active, so, and it wasn't in the slightest worried when I moved that wee leaf away. I'm just keeping my eye open. I'll see if there's any more. Just walk around and have a wee look. The other thing I've noticed as well when you're taking photos of insects is, whilst you look on the leaf face, there's usually loads of insects underneath the leaves as well. So, oh wow, wait a minute, I've got the insect sitting at the tip. Oh wow, tip of the leaf. Oh cool. Please tell me they turned out. Oh wow. Oh, I've got a cracker, absolute cracker. Right, so those orange bugs are amazing when they're at the end of a leaf, just because of the contrast with the green and the orange of the bug. It's just amazing, and that's turned out really nice. So there's another one here. I'll see if I can get their face, because they're right at the tip. So the wind, oh wow. So oh, please give me one that's nice. I'm trying to get a dark background area, because the way that my settings are, I've got my ambient light set for dark, but the flash lights up the subject, and I've actually got the shot I need. Oh wow, that's cracking. So these wee orange bugs are absolutely amazing for taking photographs of, because of the contrast of the colours. Let me just have another wee look around, because they seem to be in this area the most. The ladybird hasn't moved at all. So there's like a wee wasp on that pink flower. So what I'll do is I'll finish off here, I'll take some more images and I'll share those images with you. Well, I hope we can make a video of that, and hopefully we have beat the rain. I can feel a wee spit in the air just now. So I'm just going to sit and have my breakfast bar and my coffee, and I hope we can make a video out of this. It's been quite a lot of learning trying out the macro photography, so it's well worth practicing, and don't be despondent, because there will be a lot of mistakes, there'll be a lot of out of focus images, but just keep taking the images. You will get the one that, even if it's just one image that's completely sharp, it will make you feel so much better. And from some of the videos that I've watched, even the professionals don't always get sharp images all the time either, so it's well worth trying it. Today we focused on mainly insects, because I was rummaging around the garden. I've taken some plants and I'll show those images as well. So the key thing is a fast shutter speed. So it was unfortunate for me today that there was a bit of a breeze, so some of the plants were moving when I was trying to take shots, and as you can imagine, with the macro photography being that close up, it exaggerates all movement, so that I've got a lot of images that just look like a swoosh. But bear with it. I've got one particular one that I think is probably my best shot of the day, and it looked like a black and white wasp, but it might be a fly, I don't know. But the way that I viewed it on the viewer, I had it coming down from the top left to the bottom right, and at the back of the viewer it looked like a cracking shot, so I'm hoping that turns out, and I'll share that with you as well. But what I'll do is I'll share a lot of the kind of footage that I took over and above the insects that we were focusing on, and I'll share that at the end of this video. But thanks very much for watching. I hope you can try it, I hope you learn from it, and I actually really hope you enjoy it when you try it. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because you know it's free. And if you press the bell notification, that will let you know the next time I post a video. So thanks very much for watching, and here's to the next video.